I think that there's no question that this country is probably the most creative, one of the most creative countries in the world in terms of design and creative strategy, communication. And I think if I was to suggest how we change it, it's really just to create more value. The other thing that I've always been absolutely amazed at, perhaps that's slightly changing, is that the consumer, as we know, 80% of consumer decisions, if not more, are made by women. So why are the decisions in advertising and marketing made by men? Of course there are more women brand managers, of course there are more women at high up levels in advertising and design companies. But ultimately, a lot of the decisions are still made by men. So we need to give women, as the consumer, more say in how they're spoken to. And whether it's using humour or whether it's using a kind of values-led message, whatever it may be, we need to go that route. What we must stop doing is attacking women's sense of self-esteem. And that's the biggie. I mean, the cosmetic industry, the fashion industry, industries I've been very involved in over the years, of course, have done a lot to perpetuate that myth. And this whole thing we have of the way that computers can now change a woman's face or change a woman's body, which is where I think Dove Soap did such a brilliant job of actually showing that. And the way that we use young girls on the catwalk who haven't even developed their bodies yet, which then gets young women everywhere, young girls, not even 20, 25, starting to worry about cellulite or having liposuction, madness. And this self-absorption that I buy into as much as anybody else, that we women have got to look perfect all the time, it's crazy. And so I beg the industries that are perpetuating that to stop it and start looking at authentic messaging, not just things that are actually damaging self-esteem. I don't think that the majority of young people believe that they're their own celebrities. I think if you're talking to young people that are using the internet and have made themselves sort of little star bloggers or on YouTube, that's a small, smart section. But there is a huge amount of young women particularly who are totally impressed with the idea of becoming a footballer's wife or a rock star, or they see some young singer on television on a Saturday night clearly who's not eating properly and not looking after herself and think, oh yes, I want to be like that. So, you know, we have to, maybe the internet is a fantastic vehicle to create more self-esteem. But it goes both ways, the internet. You know, we've only got to look at those youth suicides that are all connected on Facebook to know that it's you know, it can be fantastic, and equally it can be out of control. I'm not a huge believer in research, market research. I think if you present people with 3 or 4 questions, depending on what those questions are, you'll get the answers that you want to get. So I don't actually, and I don't think the consumer knows a lot of the time what they want before they actually see it. But on the other hand, to make the consumer, whether it's through the internet or anything else, part of a community, you know, so it becomes much more, again, inclusive, is something else. And I think there's other ways of doing it rather than just sitting in a room with a focus group. I think that there are ways of talking, whether it be through the big sites like Mumsnet or whether it be talking to women in shopping centres, but really understanding what their lives are about and what they want from your brand. And it's that kind of much more emotional in a way relationship than, and also giving back in a way that relates to them. So that if you're trying to sell to a 45-year-old, overworked, tired, working mum of 5, you know, do something that's going to relate to her. What would she most need? Probably time, actually. That's probably what she most needs. Do something that's kind of relates to their life instead of thinking you know what they want from afar. The next 5 years is absolutely crucial that as women get into more and more powerful leadership roles, they do not do it in a way that is just continuing the paradigm which we're trying to get out of, the paradigm based on greed and corruption and the very old style way, patriarchal way, I would say, the hierarchical way of doing business. It is time for change, and I want to see, and I believe that women can lead that change if we work together, if we can give each other the confidence and strength to do it alongside men, because of course there's wonderful men out there in business. I've had great help from men over the years. But we have to have change now. We cannot just keep recreating a system which doesn't work, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, whether it's at grassroots. The systems have to change now.